Hey everyone. Okay, so day 3 has arrived and it's Cenntenial Ale Day. This is a very special beer to me because, well, I made it and I remember tasting and drinking this and thinking I didn't want to send it off because I really did enjoy it very much. I would say that this is definitely one of my favorite IPAs that I've made. And the mere fact that it was a SMaSH was just fantastic. So I'll definitely make sure to make this one again and again and again. But so let's go ahead, get the pour on this, we'll dive in, and I'll tell you what I think now. It's been in the bottle for, since February? Yeah, it's been in the bottle since February, so let's go ahead and see how this one aged. Alright, so I was a little bit skeptical about these plastic bottles, but they seem to have been held in the pressure pretty good, so let's see. A little bit of a hiss on there. Some smoke. Alright. Let's get this in there. Oop. It's a bit lively. I did try and pour it less aggressive as the others, but yeah. I'm actually quite happy to see that the carbonation has held on so long. So in one of these PET bottles. So that's pretty good. A little bit on the stats, I guess. I didn't get the stats on the other beers. Because really I didn't have much for stats. I had ABV, but that was about it. But there we go. Otter, Cenntenial. WLP 007, 57 IBUs, 6.7, and yeah, the brew date, bottle date. So it's been a while. It's not too bad. Kind of interesting. This label made it quite a while on this batch. I see it didn't fare so well on Norfolk Hillbillies, but that's alright. This one was actually bottled from the keg, so I did use the beer gun on this. Alright, so there it is. That's the Cenntenial Ale in the bottle. Interestingly enough, when I bottled it, these guys were crystal clear, nothing in the bottle. So I see as I pour it out, there is some sediment at the bottom. So it's almost like it had been stored at warm temperatures, and whatever yeast was left in there maybe did, eat up some of the sugars, procreate a little bit, and propagate, and end up on the bottom. So there's a little bit of stuff on the bottom. Kind of interesting. I did stir it up a little bit, so the pour did come out a little bit hazy. It's very similar to how Zippy's was on the first day. Somewhere between there and Handworth Homebrews. So I think I'll give this one, for clarity, I'll probably give it a 2. So there it is. Let's get the aroma. It's all about that Cenntenial. Very floral with citrus notes. And it's just all up there. I loved this beer before, and I can see it still held its own, so I'm very happy about that. Hop aroma is just sort of bouncing out. Right now, if I was put on a scale from 1 to 10 in terms of strength of the aroma, when I first poured it out of the bottle, I could smell it. It was probably like a 7, but now it's sort of died down. It's probably like a 4 right about now. So I'll probably end up scoring it somewhere in between there. Not those numbers, obviously. It's aroma's only 5, so probably give it a 3. Well, time for the taste. Let's get into it. Cheers. Mm. Okay. I think it's lost some of its bitterness bite. I think it's lost some of its taste. I remember it being tastier than this. I don't know if you remember watching the Homebrew Wednesday where I tasted this guy and I said, it smelled like a rainbow. And that's exactly what it did. I remember that taste. Nice and smooth and silky. And a lot of that has dissipated over the course of the last few months. But it still tastes good. Head's hanging on. Let's go back in for another one. It's got a nice taste. There is a bit of bitterness. On a scale from 1 to 10, the bitterness is probably around a 4, really. It's not huge. Well, there it is. On the aftertaste, I get more of the bitterness. It does linger around. So maybe that bumps it up to about a 5, 5.5. Maybe a 6. Where Arrogant Bastard would be, in terms of bitterness, it'd be like a solid 8. But this, more like a 5 or 6. But compared to, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 bitterness would be like, you know, one of those bitter beers that you just don't want to drink at all. So that's sort of the rating of my scale. But in terms of taste, 1 to 10, I do get that floralness, the floral hit of citrus. It's like grapefruit bitterness, soothing, coating, sweetness. I think it's really well balanced. Like I said, this is probably one of my favorite low-end IPAs that I've ever made, and it's held pretty good. It's definitely nowhere near as good as what it was when I first had it. The trick on this one, for its darkness, I saw a couple other reviews saying, oh, it was probably decoction mash, or maybe he, you know, took his forced run-ins and boiled them up. No, you don't need that. It wasn't any of that. You know, your best double IPAs, they're brewed, boiled for 90 minutes. That's it. This is a 90-minute boil on my electric brewery. It's got 100% efficiency with that heating element. But that's it. 90-minute boil. Alright. I'm going to rate this 1 to 10. I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a 7. It's very good, but you know. Malt and hop combo, or hop and malt combo. On this one, I think it's a really great mix. I mean, Maris Otter is like top end pale ale malt. You can't get any better than that. English Maris Otter with Cenntenial American hop, which is like one of the most sought after hops. It's the one that almost always runs out every year. I mean, there's a reason. I just can't think of any other malt that would go great with Cenntenial better than Maris Otter, so I am going to give that one a 5. Yeah, that's my scoring. Anyways, guys, I'm going to enjoy the rest of this. I hope you enjoyed the review. I'm looking forward to going on and reviewing the others, so bear with me and I'll get to them. Cheers. It's so nice to have you home.